Today, we're diving into a question that's on everyone's mind. Are we headed into a recession? And is the real estate market about to crash? If you've been watching the news, you've probably seen people acting like the sky is falling. The problem is, most people are either panicking for no reason or totally ignoring the warning signs. In this video, I'm going to break it down very simply. What actually causes a recession using real data, the warning signs to watch, why this time might be different, and what all of this means for real estate. So grab a coffee and let's get started. Now, before we jump in, if you find this helpful, hit the like and subscribe and check out my other videos. It really helps the channel grow. All right, let's define what we're talking about. A recession is not when things just feel expensive. It's when the economy actually slows down. Less spending, less borrowing, less business activity. And when that happens, it affects everything. Jobs, stocks, real estate. So what could actually cause a recession right now? Let's break it down. First, high interest rates. The Federal Reserve has raised rates aggressively over the past few years. As of March 2026, the Fed's bench rate mark is sitting at around 3.5 to 3.75%. And when rates are high, borrowing gets expensive. Businesses slow down, consumers pull back. That alone can cool the economy. Second, inflation. Inflation has come down, but it's still sticking around. As of February 2026, inflation is running around 2.4% year over year. Core inflation, which strips out food and energy, is about 2.5%. That means everything still feels expensive. And when people feel squeezed, they spend less. Third, consumer debt. Americans are carrying a lot of debt right now. Total consumer debt is over $5 trillion. And it's still growing. That includes credit cards, auto loans, student loans. There's a limit to how much people can keep spending on borrowing. Fourth, banks tightening lending. Banks are starting to get more cautious. They're tightening standards, especially for businesses trying to borrow. And when it's harder to get loans, business invests less. They hire less and growth slows. And fifth, commercial real estate stress. Office buildings, retail space, they're struggling. Remote work has changed everything. And those problems don't just stay isolated, they ripple through the broader economy. So when you combine all of that, higher rates, sticky inflation, record debt, tighter lending, and stress in the commercial real estate space, you can see why people are nervous. But here's the twist. Even with all of that, we're not in a recession. So what's really going on? Historically, recessions leave clues. They don't just show up overnight. So let's look at the warning signs. Number one, unemployment. Before a recession, unemployment is usually low. Then it spikes. Right now, unemployment is about 4.3%. The economy added around 178,000 jobs in March of 2026. That's not what a recession looks like. Number two, consumer spending. This is huge because consumers drive most of the economy. And right now, spending is still increasing. As of February 2026, consumer spending went up about 0.5% in just 1 month. That tells us people are still out there buying, living, spending. Number three, credit conditions. Banks are tightening for businesses, but for consumers, it hasn't tightened that much yet. That's actually unusual this late in the cycle. So what does all of this mean? Some signals are flashing red, others are flashing green. That's why everyone feels confused right now. Now, let's talk about why this cycle might be different. First, the job market is still strong. We're still adding jobs. People are still getting paychecks. And when people have income, they don't panic sell their homes. Second, housing supply is low. We're not overbuilt like 2008. Right now, there's only about 3.8 months of housing inventory. A balanced market is closer to 6 months. So supply is tight, and that supports prices. Third, homeowners are locked into low interest rates. Over half of homeowners have mortgage rates at or below 4%. Nearly 70% are at or below 5%. So if they sell, they take on a much higher payment. Most people would rather stay put. That keeps inventory low. Fourth, the banking system is stronger. This is not 2008. We don't have the same level of risky lending. Banks are more regulated, more cautious. And fifth, consumers haven't stopped spending. Money is still moving through the economy. That's a big reason why we haven't tipped into a recession. So when someone says, this is just like 2008, it's not. The foundation is completely different. Now, let's answer the big question. What happens to real estate if we do go into a recession? Most people assume recession equals housing crash, but that's not always true. Could home prices drop? Yes. But for a crash to happen, you need forced selling or a flood of inventory. And right now, we don't really have either. Unemployment is still low. Most homeowners have low fixed rates and inventory is still tight. So instead of a crash, what's more likely is a slowdown, maybe some price softening, but not a collapse. Now let's talk about interest rates. If a recession hits, the Fed will likely cut rates. And when rates drop, buyers come back, demand increases, and that can actually support prices. And here's something most people miss. Recessions create opportunity, less competition, more negotiating power, better deals, if you're prepared. So finally, why might we not even get a recession? Jobs are still strong, people are still spending, inflation is coming down, and the Fed has room to adjust if needed. So instead of a crash, we might just see a slowdown, a reset, not a collapse. So here's the bottom line. Yes, there are real risks. High rates, inflation, debt, tighter lending, and yes, historically, there are warning signs. But this time, the fundamentals are different. Strong job market, low housing supply, locked-in homeowners, and steady consumers spending. That combination matters. So instead of panicking, focus on your strategy, your timeline, your numbers. Because in every market, there's opportunity for people who are prepared. Now, if you found this helpful, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe. And check out my other videos where I break this stuff down step by step. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.